not real. None of what we say is real. None of what you are is real.
I think Republicans,
They understand the power of having a circle too.
they don't.
Way
Republicans
more
are the
than people on
opposite
the
of
left.
taxes. They want to cut. Like, isn't that the right side? Is like, fuck taxes, fuck big government, fuck all this stuff.
Probably.
Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
I mean, probably. That's
So-
why I don't fuck with politics. Try not to.
That's the best. I love politics, but
I like talking to you about politics.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, I'm not an asshole about it.
well, I'm so open-minded that if I'm getting knowledge that I can trust is not just batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Because when you turn the TV on, it's batshit crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. I have to listen. I listen to like 5 or 6 different people, and all their opinions and all the arguments against it and for it and all the information. And 2 or 3 of them are usually totally different than the other ones. So like, but they also put in information that the other people just happen to leave out. Like,
Right.
oh well, I didn't have enough time to put that in there or whatever. You know, like they always say that, or they'll just gloss by it or whatever. And that's why people are so fucking misinformed, because everything is an algorithm and everything is trying, like every part of information that you get on the internet, everything that you get on your phone, everything that is advertised for you, all that bunch of stuff is an algorithm that's working against you. It's working against making you a better person, because it wants you to stay as that left-wing crazy or that right-wing crazy. It wants you to stay in that point of view, so that way it can fucking give you more of what you want. Because if it just continuously can give you exactly what you want and you stay in that little level, then continue
the
at it.
The crappy thing is it's not going against you, it's helping you.
It's helping you.
It's helping you.
I said it's going against making you a better person.
If you look at a pigeon video, right, you're not then immediately going to get like how to care for this weird breed of pigeons, right? But if you look at the next pigeon video,
Yep.
and the next one, and then the next one, you go down this fucking rabbit hole,
Yeah.
which YouTube used to do a lot more of. Now it's you kind of have to know a little bit about a subject to search for the videos of that
Yeah.
subject.
I've noticed.
And then you get into the rabbit hole. So you can still do it. But used to, you would just click on a random thing, and it would just send you down this.
That's what was so good about
portal.
it. Well, now my videos are so specifically geared towards me, where I watch so much YouTube, that it is only recommended to the things from the people that I watch all the time.
If I'm going on a
And
deep
I don't
dive,
like that.
I always go to incognito.
Incognito? I've never done that. I'll have to do that.
It's like this. So you go into incognito, you go into YouTube, and then you search for a vague whatever that you're trying to figure out. So like, best meat animal or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you kind of you set yourself off, because it treats you as a brand new person, and it's like, we don't know this person's interest. So then you start searching, and it immediately basically stacks the shit on you, because it's like, we need to get them hooked immediately. So
But but the algorithm is, it's not, the computer itself isn't evil. Like,
right,
it's designed to do
the
what it's
system works
supposed
really
to do.
well for
Exactly.
some things.
It works really well.
This should not ever have been one.
But exactly. And
You have to be exposed to dissenting opinions.
all the time. You need to always see the other side and then understand the other side, because what if they're right? What if you're wrong? Because guess what? You are fucking wrong. You're wrong all the time. You're wrong 1,000 times a day. So what do you think? Any idea that's in your brain is correct? Because it's fucking not. Like, there is some snippets of it, but you're wrong.
Because he asked her, Lex asked the biology chick about like the whole thing about politics. Is there some kind of biological answer? And that's what she said again. It's like, well, it's our ability to predict stuff. So like, if we know that this thing is probably going to be saying stuff against us,
Yeah.
against our worldview, or what we think our worldview is,
Yeah.
what we've deemed like this is what it is, then we immediately get this reaction of like, all of it's going to set you off.
Yep.
Right? Like, you probably can't listen to any like left-wing media stuff without immediately just being like, anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's a point where you were like, oh, they're just fucking lying to me.
They're lying to me. Yeah, they are just lying.
So now, even if they came out with a story that was like just 100% non-editorial, was the straight facts and all this shit, you're just immediately like,
yeah, I have to go other places. Well, it's like anything else. If I lie to you all the time, and I'm telling you lies all the time, and I tell you something, you're going to have to check up with other things. You just won't trust it. There's no trust factor there, and I don't think it's that way for anybody who actually watches the news and people who actually read stories and don't just get their fucking news on Facebook.
well, I think the news is trying to do like YouTube. Because, the news, I think, people in the media, just in the media in general, because even TV shows, like, well, we've got, like, what, Quibi now? Like, what the hell is that?
I have no idea what that
It's like this short show app. It's like Hulu, but for, like, short, like, 10-minute things. Like, I'm just going to be, like, at this rest stop for 10 minutes.
That's awful, man.
Like, people need that now.
Just, like, 10-minute videos at a time.
Right, but that's also why there's a huge segment of people that are listening to podcasts, because there used to be like really long movies and just whatever.
Yeah.
But that's kind of went away to this really short, like right now media. It's always changing. Yeah. So like, there's these people that have this hunger for like 2 people talking for 3 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's also really easy to do 10-minute videos now, especially on the news, because there's a new damn story every 3 hours probably.
Anonymous sources.
Anonymous blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, well, we don't have
I wonder how much that shit's just straight made up. Because I'm sure a lot of it is,
you know,
sends an email.
The troops are losers or whatever with Trump was totally made up. Yeah. Like, it came out that it was 100% made up, totally. And if somebody can tell you that story on the news and you read it and you don't feel immediately betrayed by whoever the fuck told you that, whatever was going on, and not just betrayed. I don't even
care if they tell me that.
Manipulate it.
But when it comes out that the fucking shit wasn't right,
well, that doesn't even matter.
There needs to be another story that airs that day, which is, hey, by the way, we had this thing wrong, guys.
Yeah.
We know that a lot of people got really angry about this and whatever. This was our bad.
The damage is already done, though. That's the thing. Even if they do that, and they only do because that was on the news almost all day. There were so many articles written about it, so many stories, all these Facebook posts like of people putting like I judge what stories are big on what's on my Facebook feed, because like I have left wing and right wing friends, so like I can see what's going on. And I can see the stories, and I can see
like 5 of the Rittenhouse. You're like,
the
oh,
same one, exactly. Yeah. And then I can see that it goes on for 4 days. Oh well, this must have been a slow news week, because like they've been doing this for 4 days, pushing this rhetoric and all like whatever against Trump, and I don't love Trump. I don't really like Trump. I think like we have so many better options and everything, but if you cannot, as a fucking normal human, say that he is getting shit on every day, all day long, for everything he does, and like there is no good news.
The guy in the Lex podcast that I sent you today.
Yeah.
I mean, he said that at one point. He said,
and he hates Trump.
He said that like, well, look, you can't say that he's not getting shit, because like if you imagine that, you know, you had this enemy, right? And even if, you know, he is doing bad to you, you're going to be doing bad back to him.
Yeah.
So, like, the media or whoever has this fucking thing, they're like, he's doing this stuff against me. And, of course, they're going to attack him back. He's going to be getting attacked.
Yeah. And,
like, it's crazy for people to say, like, oh, that no one attacks him.
No, it's all day long. It's constant.
Like, it's hyperbole. So, no, like, people attack shit out of Obama. People attack... Like, that's part of being the president, but for some reason, this go around, the media has just really
destroyed,
waylaid on the president.
Lied. Like, every single thing that was out of context. Like, in the debate, Joe Biden brought up there's good people on both sides. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, he said there's good people on both sides. And he specified, if you watch not just the clip, if you watch the whole thing, he specifies and says, I'm not talking about the white supremacists and the KKK people and whatever. They need to be denounced. Like, we need to get rid of them. I'm talking about the people who are protesting for keeping the statue and the people that are protesting against keeping the statue. And I'm saying there was good people peacefully protesting on both sides. He explained it, the whole thing out. And then Like
story's
that's
not
been a thing. How many times has that been said over and over and over again and just lied about over and over again? Joe Biden said it in the fucking debate. It was
I
like
linked that YouTube video, the supercut of him saying all this stuff about him denouncing it like however many times, like 20 times, right?
100,000 times.
I linked that in a Reddit because people were just talking about it.
Yeah.
I got downvoted into oblivion.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, okay,
People don't want truth.
so you hear that this thing that you've been talking about and just blabbing about is just absolutely false because you see the president say over and over and over again that denounce these bad people. They're bad people, which is what the president should be saying. If they're bad people, it's like, hey, these are bad people. I don't dig it.
Yeah.
I don't want their votes.
Yeah, I agree. He should.
Because the guy even pressed them. It's like, wait, but their votes would be good for you. And it's like, well, yeah, but like, I don't want it. Like, what are you trying to? Trying to trap me into some weird shit?
There's not that many. There's not that many white supremacists in America. Like, people can act like it's some big gigantic thing, but
we're Nazis.
It's not. No, they're not. There's a couple of thousand, I think, in these groups that are organized, and even the KKK is like disorganized in like all these different groups, and they even fight each other. Like, there's different there's not one leader of the KKK. There's a bunch of different people that are all together. Like, there's a bunch of different clans of the KKK. So like, even them, they're not like this giant super organism that's like moving the fucking fabric of a reality in America. It's a bunch of fucking crazies. There's a bunch of fucking crazies everywhere, and they all just need to be just ignored and mocked. Like, stop acting like they're a fucking problem, because they're not a problem. They're just insane assholes that don't shine a light on them. Stop acting like it's anything that should be.
It'd be like
talked
if they
about.
handled the class clown in like second grade by saying like, "Oh my God, you need to stop here. Stand up on this stage, and we're gonna shine a spotlight on you."
Yeah, it's like,
and it's gonna encourage you to stop acting like a crazy person. It's like, well, no, I'm the class clown. Like, of course, you gonna give me a stage?
yeah. Well,
okay.
it's just it's not that big of a problem, and I'm all for obviously fuck all white supremacists, fuck all anybody who's violent, anybody who has hate in their heart, literally towards anybody. Like, even if you do hate people, just don't fucking go out and do evil shit. Like, why don't you just do that?
That's
like,
the thing.
maybe you're fucked up in the head.
Not that many people are going out and doing evil shit.
Yeah.
And if they are, then we need police.
Exactly.
To deal with them. Like, there can't be this vigilante squad of anyone, even from the right, from the left, that are like, I'm going to be justice. Like,
I want community policing. Well, what if one of these white supremacists that you're scared of is one of the community police in certain neighborhoods?
I got the back holler.
Yeah.
KKK
it just
squad.
doesn't. And they're all like,
they're all sheriffs. Yeah.
Well, here's what happened. So like, I've been going through the sequence of events and like trying to think about like what exactly has happened, and why it happened, and why public opinions has swayed dramatically, one way or the other. And like, so like, George Floyd died.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was in pandemic mode.
It's crazy.
And everybody's already freaked out. And it was, honestly, I saw the whole body cam footage. They released that, and I watched the whole thing, and it was horrifying. It was awful. They did, in the first half of the video, I will say that they didn't, I feel, treat him shittily in the first half.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there was terrible ill intent just to try to fuck him up. I do think that they got fed up with his ass.
He didn't like back talk him once and then go like, all right, that's it.
I think they got fed up of dealing with him, and then out of that they killed him. Like, they killed him. There's no like,
12?
yeah.
I think a lot of these cops, and it's not like a dig on just all police officers.
Yeah.
But like, I would imagine a lot of people, like, okay, like the, what is it, 10% of the population has an IQ of 80 or lower, right? There's probably a lot of people that would handle like really annoying confrontation, which is part of what being a police officer entails you to have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Really stressfully annoying, partially almost violent, like a guy that's sitting there doing this at you over and over again and stuff. Like, you have to be able to handle that. And if that officer has this thing in him where he still handles someone being real up and annoying and just kind of ruining his day, and he can't handle that in that way.
Yeah.
Right. That's probably happening a lot.
Oh, definitely. Like, that needs to be fixed.
That's what I'm saying.
That needs to be looked at.
There needs to
That
be a
needs
lot.
to be
Well, there
looked
needs
at.
to be a lot more like what is it? The training, like the Andrew Yang thing or something. Something's gotta happen. Where
Yeah, definitely.
They're all blue belts or whatever.
I mean, there definitely needs to be more training and more assistance and stuff like that. But I think in this specific case, what happened was, I mean, they opened the window for him. They tried to get him in the car because he was being arrested or whatever was happening, and he was just not. They were being so patient with him for the first little bit, and then it was like, I have no more patience for you. You're done. Like, there was like an extension of empathy for however long, and then like it was a pretty long time. Like they were like being nice to him. Hey, I'll get you some water. Here, we'll roll the windows down. I know you're claustrophobic, but we got to put you in the car. Like, they were just talking to him. They weren't manhandling him at all. And then all of a sudden it flipped, and then he's on the ground, and nobody gives a damn because he's just there. Like, he died. But I think that happened. It was horrible, and so obviously all these protests happened. And I think at the beginning, obviously, there was some violence. There was violence. A lot of stuff happened in specific cities. But I think there was a lot of cities where there wasn't a lot of violence and there wasn't a lot of bad stuff happening. But the police still overreacted to the situation. And they started... There's a Google Doc that you can download that there's 1,500, however many videos of police violence, like just against people just standing around. I mean, they were shooting people in wheelchairs in the face with rubber bullets and like bloodying up people. So then the public sees this and goes, "Fuck the police, fuck you guys," and then they get less support. Exactly. Well,
are now fucked.
They get less support. I'm not saying it happened all over the place, but it happened a lot. Like and they thought, I'm gonna go in there, we're gonna roll in there and just crush these guys down. It ain't gonna be no big deal. And I think they understood how outnumbered they were, and then how much public opinion does sway what happens in policy. Like, and if they act this way, then that happens. Because I feel like here recently there hasn't been too much police brutality in these protests and stuff that are happening, but also in certain cities there's been 130 days of riots and burning, and like that is the product of the police brutality that happened during these protests that shouldn't have. Like, if the police would have went in and just handled it like a fucking pro and didn't beat the shit out of people.
If they would have went in thinking like, wait, this can get way worse.
Yes, exactly. If they can just go into it doing what they should have done, what police should do, and we're just going to make sure that nobody gets hurt. We're not going to be forceful. We're going to let them protest. This is going to have to happen.
They kind of treated it like a really rambunctious Halloween party that went wrong. It's like, oh, let's just go in and just break the shit
We're just going to push them out of here, and we're just going to do this. Well, people don't like being fucked with.
There's a lot of fucking people, and a lot of them are mad.
Yeah, and now there's thousands of videos of you guys taking your riot shields and breaking people's ankles while they're on the ground, and like terrible shit was happening. So then public opinion went down, which then gave more of a stance of this stupid fucking defund the police stuff. Like, I understand defund the police doesn't mean defund the police, whatever. No, it does. Like,
that's the whole thing, is no one's treating it like a nuanced argument.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, like what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everyone is fucking, we need to it's like, there needs to be no more cops, or people are saying like, no, we need like half of all of our citizens to be cops.
Yeah.
And it's like this giant fucking...
And even the nuanced arguments don't make sense, and then there's no real plan for it, and it's too soon. Okay, defund the police, we get it, we got your thing. We can't defund the police right now because there's no plan. You got to plan this stuff out. Like, this is a giant move if you're going to defund your police department. You can't just snatch away all the funds and say, let's figure it out.
Well, that's part of cancel culture.
Even
you
put
don't
in a
get
plan.
canceled 3 months from now.
It's now. Yeah, you're right.
You get canceled.
So stupid. Like in Minneapolis, it's terrible where they defunded their police, and I mean, I know in New York they were saying that cops weren't even arresting people, like they couldn't. They were just like, we don't have enough people.
The video where I started to kind of feel bad for cops, I was like, oh shit, like, even if like fuck all the assholes, right? Like, this poor guy has to deal with this shit now. It was like, I think it was in Portland, and they had the cameras out. I don't know if they're protesters, rioters, it doesn't matter, right? People came up to this cop though, and recording them, had their fucking phones out, and we're immediately like, I don't think they were jumping in a straight start and shit. I don't think. It's been a while since I've seen the video, so they may have. I don't know, but they were like, they leaned straight up into his car, which when watching the video, I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh no, yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a white person that is not really. If I'm in the presence of a cop, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be all right. Like, I'm not gonna get shot right now, right? But even that, I was like, I would never fucking do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think one of the more helpful things for me and cops was like going to the police station as a kid. Do you remember that field trip?
Yeah.
You get taken to the police station. It's like, this is where you get put. Like, because it was kind of like, it wasn't really as scary as straight, but it was kind of like there was a section of that where it's like, this is where you get, if we have to come and arrest you.
Yeah.
You get to go to the back of the car, and they showed you the back of the car, and they showed you all this equipment, and you realize, like, oh, this isn't just a guy with a blue shirt running around.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this is a vehicle that's really spec'd out to do, like, almost like a light military activity. Yeah. And here's a guy that's got all this equipment on.
It's serious,
and all this stuff. And you, even as a kid, you're like, oh, like, you know, this is, like, they're kind of decked out.
Yeah.
And they're doing a hard fucking job. Like, that needs, if you need that kind of equipment, obviously your job.
Well, being a police officer is, like, you have to be a crazy person. Like, why do you want that? Why do you want to deal with the worst times ever? Like, you're not around for the good times. You're around for only the bad times. And I understand it's a fucking terrible job. But it's a terrible job, and the people who do it are a special kind of person that can put up with it and not just go crazy, you know? But the thing is, I understand it's a terrible job, and I understand everything's going, you know, in a negative way towards that job right now, but you still need to be held accountable for everything that you do, because it is such a terrible job, and it is the capability for you to be terrible, or the capability for whatever. But there's not even that many, like, I understand that any unarmed death of a fucking person from a police officer is awful. Like, a cop shouldn't be shooting unarmed people. They shouldn't be shooting people unless their life is in immediate danger or threat, or they're threatening someone else's life. But
that was the whole thing with the Andrew Yang, like, jiu-jitsu thing.
Yeah.
He's like, these people are scared shitless.
Yeah.
You can tell when in one of these videos where the dude gets shot, like, you've seen some videos where like, some cop interaction videos, because I know me and you've probably both watched a lot, where you're like, oh yeah, no, that guy got shot. Like, that was just going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, this dude was acting the fool. Like, had a fucking machete, he's running at cops.
I mean, I get it. I get if you have a machete and they ask you to stop multiple times and you're literally running
I saw one where
at a guy.
the cop was running backwards and was screaming at him,
oh,
please stop,
yeah. I saw that one.
Please, because he did not want to fucking kill this guy.
No. Well,
he had to.
At that point, that was justified. Like,
and not only did he have to, it's not like he did it from 15 feet away.
No.
The guy eventually got up to him,
and
there was a fucking tussle for a second, and then the guy got shot.
Man, I always put myself in the situation of it. Like, if I was DoorDashing.
Like, there's people that have to do that job.
Yeah. Well, think about going to DoorDash. You're going to DoorDash, you knock on the door, and some guy jumps out with a knife and is running at you and, like, fucking violent and trying to stab you. What's the first thing you're going to do? You think you're going to tell him to stop, or you're going to pull out your gun and you're going to shoot if you had one? Because I would panic so hard. I know they should be trained more, but people got mad over that situation. They're like, well, he had mental problems and it should have been dealt with differently. And it's like, if it wasn't a cop that went there and it was a social worker, they would have got stabbed to death. Like, they would have been murdered.
Stabbed to death, or like really scared shitless because some crazy guys walk around with a fucking machete. Could you imagine being a social worker? He
ran at him.
Right. Well, I mean, imagine being a social worker and he's crazy, but like, okay, so like a lot of schizophrenic people, right, are actually not violent. It was really interesting. I was reading up about it. There's a very small percent that actually get violent, but they have a violent, like, behavior, meaning like they might grab a knife and stuff, but very few actually. They're basically like this really paranoid fucking person stuck in a normal person's, like, mindset of like, I don't want to actually hurt nobody. I don't want to. Like, so they may, like, try to over-threaten stuff because they think that you're trying to hurt them.
I got you.
So it's actually kind of sad because a lot of them don't ever actually hurt nobody. But then they're viewed as, like, this super dangerous fucking, but they could be.
Yeah.
And, like, fuck, what was the tangent I was going off of that?
Social worker.
Oh, So you're a social worker. This guy comes at you that's like that with a machete, and he never even hurt you, but he fucking grabs your throat and is like fucking doing weird shit near you, like, "Hey, I'll fucking kill you. You're coming near me and stuff." I've been watching you looking at me through the windows at night. I'm gonna. You're fucking sitting there like this, fucking scared shitless. You probably don't want to show up to work the next day.
And then the idea there was an idea that like we could have more social workers and they can go with police. So like a social worker that
could be there to maybe be the person down part of the
social worker. And the cops there for secure, like a call that would.
Mom has to call cops when she.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, man.
If she's dealing with someone where like there is a dog on the premises and it's really super seemingly violent or something, she has to call a cop. Or if she has to go inside someone's house.
If I was her, I'd just be like, I'm calling cops.
If she has to go inside someone's house, it's immediate. It's like that's actually protocol, but she calls them a lot just to if she knows this person's a problem person, because everybody's got that.
Well, everybody knows. I like the idea of a social worker on there, but I don't like that alone isn't. Okay, so you would have to fund the police officer or the police department
at the same rate at minimum.
More, because they would be a part of the police.
Well, yeah.
Unless they were wanting it to be completely separate, and it's like that doesn't make sense. Like it should just be one organization. Now, I think that investigations and stuff need to go through a different channel.
I don't see why, if we have canine units, why can't we have like the soft cop unit?
Yeah.
Like, how much does it cost to train a dog and all that shit, and to maintain it and stuff, right?
A lot, yeah.
Like, why don't they just have a guy that's like social worker guy, but maybe he's got some body armor on too, and
I think that's what a social
and he comes up and is like, "Hey, look, I'm kind of with the cops and stuff, but look, man, I'm here to help you," and blah blah, blah and whatever.
I think that's what this is. I think that was the thing behind it. Like they are social workers. They drive around with police officers all day. And if it's a report of some sort of mental health issue, or if it's a report of somebody who they know is on that, then they go with the social worker, and the cop's there too. So the cop's still doing his job. He's still making sure nobody's getting hurt. That guy's not doing anything violent. Everything's good. But the social worker's there to actually be able to talk to him, then talk to the people around him, and like make sure they have a good report on it.
It seems like a good idea.
Yeah, it makes sense, but
you have a lot more funding for that.
Also, don't take away more money, because then you're going to take away the money now, and then they're somehow going to get that budget plus more back. I don't think so.
I don't see why there can't be like a government kind of thing where it's like, okay, we're going to supply all the cops with this much more money, but like y'all need to send us a report how this money is actually being used to.
I think that is a thing.
Like better whatever interactions you're having in the community.
Yeah.
And then now they've got this report they can show all the country. Like, look, this is the actual fucking number.
That's the thing.
Like,
it's online. You can look up the Bristol police or the Bristol police budget. Like they get audited and stuff. They put up the whole thing of everything that their budget's going to be spent on, what they need.
Advertise that shit. Say like, look, this is look at the numbers, guys. Like, you think we're all fucking assholes? You think we're all killing everybody?
You can look at it. Yeah, it's online. I looked it up.
Like that. That should be like a fucking ad on like TV. Like, hey, do you think your cops are fucking bad? Look up their stats.
Well, not their stats of like what their records are.
I don't mean each individual cop, but I'm saying like this is what your police station is.
Yeah, they have a thing that goes out that's like
community outreach.
This is 2019. I think the 2019 was on there. It was like 2019 goals for the year. Here's what we want to do, and one of them was like we want to do this much community outreach. We want to do this much in schools. We want to reduce. We're having a problem with this crime rate right now in Bristol, and we want to bring it down 10%. Like it's usually not giant goals or anything. It's like we are going to improve the community in these ways, and here's the goals that you can hold us accountable for next year. And they put it up, like it's all up there. It's pretty straightforward.